Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Three Family. We are on this global platform. I am Tracey, and this is Lance Smith, and we're from San Diego, California, and it's so great to be with you here tonight.
Yeah, welcome. It's one of our first times doing the Empowerment Tuesdays. I love this platform. It's always an honor for us to come on and jump and share with this team. Even though we're not a year old, we really have come a long ways, and just seeing a lot of excitement and a lot of energy out there. And it's fun to do these types of calls because we can talk more about the mindset and really kind of go into details in the weeds of really what it takes to go out there and build this. When you're out there doing opportunity calls and wellness, you're typically talking to new people. But if you're on this call, the chances are pretty good that you're either a leader or you're wanting to be a leader. And so we're hoping that what we shared tonight or this afternoon, wherever it is you are, that will really help you grow. For Tracey and I, we've been blessed to have 3 decades in this industry full time. Absolutely love what it is we do, but that process, it didn't happen overnight. It was a journey, and so for those of you that don't know our story, we want to go a little bit of a background as far as where we started from, and then tell you the mindset and the shift that happened for us that really took us from really a struggling network marketer, affiliate marketer, e-commerce marketer to literally stages in front of millions of folks over the next couple of years. And so our story goes like this. It was early off in life. I met Tracey, promised her a lot of things. We got married and realized that we needed to do something different. And I was at a point where I was looking. I lost a job that they promised me severance package after a bunch of years, and didn't even get enough money on my severance package to cover my bills for that one particular month. And so I realized I wanted to do something different. And fate would have it, somebody came and showed me this idea of network marketing or affiliate marketing. And it wasn't really necessarily what I was looking for, but it checked all of the boxes. And I got real excited about the process. I decided to go ahead and get involved. And from that point forward, it was a little bit of a struggle at the very beginning. The first thing that happened is my sponsor quit. He was involved for 2 or 3 days, and he looked at us and what we were and weren't doing, and he gave up and he quit. He gave me a name of somebody who was his sponsor, and so I got a hold of that person, introduced myself, and that person quit. And literally over the first 6 months that we are involved, I think 7 or 8 of our upline all looked at us. They looked at what we were doing, looked at who we were. They all went and quit, which is very inspirational. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard enough to keep your team together, but you try to hold your upline in. But, 30 years later, we actually use a banker's terminology today that's called substantial penalty for early withdrawal. And they certainly weren't able to benefit by the last 3 decades of us putting this thing together. But if that was the worst part, that would have been one thing. But really what happened for us is we got involved, and because we didn't have a lot of guidance, we pretty much decided to make every mistake you could make in the book. And I was so stubborn, I'd make the mistakes 2 or 3 times just to make sure they were wrong the first time. We started to get some people in. We really had a lot of passion. We had big dreams and things we wanted to accomplish. But the problem was we didn't really have a lot of guidance that was here. My closest upline at that time was 800 miles away. I didn't know them, and they really didn't have time for us. And so we just went out there and started to do the work. And our group went from 1 to 2 and 2 to 4 and 4 to 8. And I think by the time we were involved, like 9 or 10, 11 months, we had a team of maybe 80 or 90 people, and things were starting to come together. And then one day, and I remember it was like yesterday, I got a phone call from my top leader. I mean, the leader called up and says, "Hey, Lance, I just got a promotion to my job. I looked at kind of what we've done so far the last 5 or 6 months and decided we don't want to do it anymore, so we're quitting." And I called my entire group, and they're all quitting too. And literally, our group went from about 90 people to about 2 people. I mean, just like that. It was just a heartbeat. And I kind of laugh. For the first couple of years, the fastest momentum I ever had was in reverse. And it wasn't supposed to be that way, but that's kind of the way that worked for us. But I'll tell you the reason why I tell you that story is because I remember looking at Tracey, and we obviously were very frustrated that night. And I remember looking at it over her, and I said, I quit. And it was the only time in 3 decades I ever said those words. And Tracey and I looked at each other, and then we immediately said, well, now what? Now what do we do? Go back to what we were doing before? That wasn't really an option. And so we made a decision to get to an event, to go find somebody else that really, that was a part of our support team. We sat down with them. And I told him, I said, I need help because I'm doing this thing wrong. And I found a group of leaders. There was a handful of them. And they taught me a couple lessons over the next month or 2 that literally shifted us from somebody who was struggling to literally 4 or 5 years later, we were speaking in arenas. And the shifts were things that were kind of simple things that, the network marketing is a team sport. It's not an individual sport. And I had been struggling, trying to build it by myself. I really wasn't trying to empower others, and I didn't have it. I didn't work with my upline very well. I didn't work with my support team. I didn't work with the people I'd partnered with very well. They taught me that, the speed of the leader is the speed of the group, and I was fairly inconsistent at that time. They taught me things like it doesn't matter what works, it matters what duplicates. And I was creating a pattern that was, that I thought was really good because I could put people in, but it wasn't duplicating. There was nobody that was doing what I was doing. And so we went through this entire process. I learned a couple of these things, and we started to shift our attitude and start to go more towards promoting. And our topic tonight, I don't know if you want to add where we went through, but at the very beginning, it was a struggle for us.
We were early 20s in college, right? And so, some of the funny things, we would go over to show a presentation or opportunity in someone's house, and their little kid would come up, and we'd move the little kid, and we're like, can you get them away because we're sharing an opportunity.
We got business to talk here.
Relationships, and it's funny because anyone that we ever showed a presentation to, we saw, 100 CV or a Pro Pack stamped on their head, right? Yeah. And it was all about business. It wasn't, but we're in a relationship, model, and we needed to learn how to build that and how to promote things that were really effective. So
yeah, it was funny because I would never ask them what their dreams were. I'd tell them what our dreams were. If they did tell me what they wanted, I'd say, "Oh, those are dumb goals. You really need to shoot for something like this." So
we had a list of goals, and I showed him mine, and he said mine were dumb.
Well,
oh my God,
I was young.
Yeah, we were young,
but we had a little bit to learn. But one of the biggest shifts that we went through, and I'm thankful because we were asked to talk about promoting, and so we're going to talk about promotion and shifting the gears into going from from network marketing or affiliate marketing as a team sport versus an individual sport. Now, a lot of you that are on here, you're leaders. Maybe you got a team that's growing. Some of you on this call have got massive teams. Some of you just have a handful of folks. But I think what we're going to share with you the next few minutes is really going to help you out. And so I apologize, my voice is a little hoarse, but we'll get through this, and hopefully you'll get some stuff that will help you through it. So let's talk about the power of promoting. What we wanted to do is we want to build something big. And once you get in your mind, one of my mentors one time, he said, "Lance," he said, "you got to begin with the end in mind. What do you see your group like in 5 years or 10 years?" And I'm going to ask you that question. What do you see your group like in 5 or 10 years? Do you see a couple hundred people? Do you see thousands of people? Do you see it? I mean, do you have a big enough vision where you can see an arena of people that are part of your team? Can you imagine having people on your team that are making great money and people that you're traveling the world with? The bigger the vision you've got, the mind doesn't really necessarily know what's real or what's not real. If you read the book Psycho-Cybernetics, what you program in is what you're going to get out. And so you got to get to the point where you have a big vision. And when we came together and launched this platform, we didn't get together to build something small. We came together to build one of the largest platforms that has ever been built. If you take the experience and the years and the volume that the leaders that have started this movement that have come together, it's in the billions of dollars and hundreds of years of experience. And I hope that you understand that and you can grab the vision of where we're at. And so what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about the what, the who, and the how of promoting. And let's go ahead and start with the what. What is it we're going to promote? We're going to promote people. I'm going to talk about, or the process. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about promoting the people. I'm going to talk about promoting the platform, and I'm going to talk about promoting the events. And so let's start with the process. The process of what we do is simple. And I'm going to say this, that our industry has been around for well over 100 years. All of the leaders here have had success that have come together, and they've come from different backgrounds. But one thing about it is the pattern that's out there. This idea has a proven and predictable pattern. It's been proven over time. If you look at the growth of our industry and the hundreds of billions and the amount of people who become successful, it really breaks it down into two areas. There's two areas that really make our business grow. And one is the income generating activities. And these are activities of what you do day in and day out. These are your habits. These are the things that you do that generate the most income. I mean, there's activities that we do that are jumping on a Zoom like that, and that's certainly a growth. But as far as the income generating activities, we're going to talk about those things that make you the most money if you really want to focus it. And then we want to talk about being plugged into a system and being part of something bigger and leveraging a team of people and going from an individual sport to a team sport so you can have the most success. And so the income generating activities look like this. And you guys can look at the WOW book. They're right in there. First thing you got to do is write a list of names down. You don't pre-qualify people. You put everybody you know. It doesn't really matter where they're at. And I've never been at a time in our career where there's more people that are looking than now. 64% of people in America are living from paycheck to paycheck. 52% of the people in America now have a second job, or they have a side gig or something else they're doing. They realize that they need to find something else. And then you've got to go through those, and you need to contact them and let them know that, hey, we've got a project we launched 11 months ago, or just under a year ago, and then we're going to be building something big, and we'd love to have you see the story or hear about the products. And so you got to learn how to contact those people. And there's certainly scripts and there's training that can teach you about that. The third step is we've got to share it, and we can either share it from an opportunity standpoint, where we talk about the benefits of building a global distribution network, and the last call we had with Kim, where she talked about her vision of, getting not only customers, but customer getters, the people that go out there and expand the network, or if you're going to share a product. The thing about the sharing is we're not in the sales business. We're not trying to sell people into the business or sell products to them. We're in the problem solving business, whether you know it or not. Our goal is to solve problems. And what it is to find a need in the person you're talking to and show them how what we have will fill that need. If they need some better health, we can show them the products that can give them that. If they need, if they're looking for an additional income, we can show them how this can benefit them. If they're looking to level their game up or their tribe, we can show them the people that we're involved with and what it is we're doing and the vision for this whole project that we put together. And so you share the idea, and the next one is the follow through. On the follow through, what you want to do is go to the next one, is get them started. Hey, are you ready for step 2? Did anything we talked about resonate with you? What would it be like if you could actually be involved with the people that are like-minded that want to help you succeed? And so this process of the names list and contact and showing them the program and follow through and getting them started, that circle right there, that pattern is universal in our industry. And I remember when very early in the career, I remember one of the criticism, they say, well, not everybody that gets involved in this industry has success. And I would agree with that, but not everyone who goes to college has success. Not everyone who gets a job has success. Not everyone who gets married has success. And anything in life is going to take commitment. And I remember thinking to myself, well, if I want to have success in this industry, what do I need to do? And the reality is if one out of, let's say, 40 people, or one's out of 30, or one's out of, even if it's 100 people or 50 people make it, I just got to do more than the other 49. And I never really realized how little the other 49 are doing. A lot of people get involved in this, and they don't do much. And I realized that if I wanted to create an income, this rotation right here is the key to it. For our success, I was never really good at a lot of things. But that rotation, I can get a list of names I could contact, I could show the program, I could follow through, I could get someone started. From there, I was real good at helping them get a list of names, contact, show the plan, follow through. And that process got us a business growing and allowed us to get to a certain point.
So we were in control of that.
So right? Yes, we were in control of it. Yeah.
We are in control.
And we obviously have got tools, and we've got opportunity calls and things you can plug into. But Tracey makes a good point right there, is a lot of you, if you don't know how to do each one of those steps yourself personally, then at whatever point you're missing, let's say, if an example, if someone says, can you show me what you're doing? And you have to get them on a call or get an upline. Now you're spending your time kind of being a social director, kind of coordinate times and schedules and following up, and utilize the system. We'll talk about that, but learn these steps yourself, learn how to do them. And once you do, you're bulletproof. Once I had these down, the confidence it gave me, I knew that if my group were to ever, or my business was ever to not work, I could take my skills and go somewhere else. And that's why you see a lot of the top leaders in the industry, once they develop these skills, they could really end up anywhere as long as they know these basic patterns. But when I say you can master these steps, that's certainly important. But the problem with just this alone, just the activity on you, is this is the individual sport. This is what I did my first year. I put 80, 90 people in, 100 people in. But you get max. You're limited as far as how many people, because you literally run out of time. If the answer to what's next is, well, let me call them and let me get them a names list, let me help them contact, let me show the program. If it's all about you, about 50 or 60 people is about what you can put in max, because you just run out of time. And then it's kind of like spinning plates on top of sticks. And so you have to shift. And that little step 5 where it shows kind of the arrow getting out of there, you want to continue that circle, that, and make that rotation, man. 15, 20 times a month is really kind of what we recommend, minimum.
Yeah.
I know for us, we got financial freedom in about 6.5 years, and we did this somewhere between 18 to 22 times a month for 6.5 years. Just, get names, help contact, invite, show the plan, follow up. And we just kept that rotating, and that's how we built. And after that, we literally get paid today on work we did, 30 years ago. But the growth is limited. So I want you to think franchise. I want you to kind of think from a bigger standpoint. McDonald's has served more hamburgers than anybody else. But I live in Southern California. In-N-Out makes much better hamburgers. But McDonald's at the time had the best system. And they had a system that allowed them to serve billions upon billions of hamburgers. And that's the shift you've got to go to. And so the next part is being plugged into a system. And I know that when I was brand new and just putting people in, I'm like, I don't have time to go to an event. I don't have the money to do it. I'm broke. And I kind of went through all of this type of stuff. And I remember talking to my support team, and they said, Lance, you got to begin with the end of the mind. And I'll tell you a quick story. I went into a restaurant several years ago, and it was at a Carl's Jr. And at Carl's Jr., if you've ever done it before, I ordered a couple of meals. And they gave me a number for my table, and it was number 7 or whatever. I went back over and I sat down and I put my number on the table. And as I'm sitting there looking around, I looked at, we're the only person in the restaurant. And I looked at Tracey and I started laughing. I said, they put a number on the table and we're the only ones in this restaurant. If they can't find us, they're idiots. But here was the realization I came up to is this, that system of having a number on the table wasn't built and wasn't designed for when there was one person in the restaurant. That was easy. They're going to find us no matter what. That system was put together so when you have 100 people in that restaurant, you can find the right people. And what I missed is at the very beginning, what didn't make sense to me is the reason why is because I was looking at it from a small group of 3 or 4 or 5 people. And it would have been cheaper for us all to stay home from the convention and just sit around and kind of move products.
Order product, yeah.
But in the long-term scheme of things, I would have missed it.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I would have missed it. And so it's not what works. It was duplicated. And you have to see this as, could you imagine having 100,000 people in your team or 10,000 people in your team? You're going to have a system bigger than you, I promise you. The next thing is I need to learn to be the messenger, not the message. And this one was, I'll give you a simple example. I had a leader that came on board with me a couple of years ago on a previous platform that was a doctor, very successful. And the company was similar to what we have today. Our products are much better, but it was a science-based product that we were moving. And this doctor was extremely sharp. He was very well spoken. He could tell you all the ingredients. He could tell you all the things it could do and that it couldn't do. He was absolutely flawless when he would go speak. And a year later, I had a leader who really didn't know anything that crushed him. And here's the reason why. The guy who could do everything that was actually fantastic, that knew everything, what he didn't realize is when people get involved in your group and they're working with you, they're going to ask themselves a couple of things. Number one is they want to know, does it work? They can look around and say, okay, yeah, it works. And the next question they ask is typically, well, if it did work, would I like it? And I think anyone that looks at the results of 3 and what we're putting together, I think they're going to like it. But the third one is the one that got him. And it's, can I do what that person's doing? And they looked at this guy who was a doctor and was spoken. They're like, oh my God, I can never do that. And I know he's having some success, but I can never be like that one. Now, the other guy, on the other hand, he didn't know a lot of the details, but he was good at promoting events, promoting the next call, promoting the leaders, promoting. All he did was he used the system. Every time someone asked a question, he said, man, I don't know, but here's a link. I don't know, but here's this.
He was always happy, always excited, always pointing, right?
He
was like the life of the party. Awesome guy.
Yeah, and he crushed it because people looked and go, he doesn't know a whole heck of a lot, but he is killing us, and I can do what that person's doing. And so it's okay to know all the details, and it's okay to be well spoken, and it's okay to be present yourself well. But remember this: that if you're the messenger, if you're the message, then people get in or out because of you. If you're the messenger, you let the system do the talking. You let the leverage of all of us together, the combined knowledge that we all bring here, you let them do the talking. And I promise you, as good as you may be, that's a more powerful story. It's not me; it's what we can do together. Yeah. And so the next one is the leverage to the ability of others. That's where a system kicks in. The other thing what is cool about the system is it works whether you do or not. One of the greatest realizations of a system was, I think it was our year number 15 or 16. Tracey's dad had cancer and was going through some struggles. And for Tracey and I, we'd run really hard for a lot of years. And so we kind of took some time off for about 8 months as he went through that process. And sadly, he fought a good fight, but wasn't able to make it through it. But that 8 months where we were really not out there showing the plans and doing the details because we had a system in place and because we'd promoted a system and we had leaders, our group tripled while we were gone. I mean, literally the fastest growth we ever had was when we were gone. And at that point, it hit me that I hurt my self-esteem for a minute. I said, well, maybe we should leave more often. But what it did is they looked and they said, we know how to do this. And
Great
if
people.
Lance and Tracey aren't here, we'll just step up our game and fill in that void. And they did. And as they stood up, the whole team grew.
That's a true legacy, huh?
And that is a true legacy, is you want to have something bigger than you know. And again, it's made to scale, think again of the Carlos Jr., it's not the process may look silly when it's small, but man, it's what holds the whole thing together when it gets bigger. So here's the system that we're going to talk about. And there's different words to call the ladder of escalation, whatever it is you call it. So we're doing the names, this invite, show the plan, follow through. We're getting people involved. We're getting them started. Now, how do we get them plugged in? Well, it kind of starts off small at the very beginning. There's some pieces of the puzzle that you get at the very beginning. You're going to want to give them some training tools. And I think Kim and Samson are putting into the WOW book and, the different brochures and the tools that we have to really get somebody knowing what to do. Because really, once they just say, hey, I want to get involved, the next step is, okay, what do I do now? And so those training tools are really important at the very, very beginning to get people started. And we're going to be adding to those. Certainly there's things to help you with the names list, there's scripts, there's those sort of things. But as time goes by, we'll backfill those in there to where really we'll have a tool that anybody could get involved in. They could be like me, where their support team left or they quit, but they can still have that ability to jump in and plug in and kind of learn about those things. And then you want to jump on the corporate call so you can hear the what about the corporation and what does it stand for? And, what is 3 looking at? What is proactive wellness? Who are these people? The next step of the ladder up is still in the what category, and that's the opportunity calls and the wellness calls. But you're going to want to plug them into those because each one of these things is going to take someone down the road. The goal is to take somebody who just jumps in that thinks, okay, this could be a good idea. Like I did, this checks the right boxes, to get them to a point where they're like, man, we're all in. This is what we're going to do with our life. And that step is through this ladder. So getting the tools, starting to work, the corporate calls, the op calls. And then the next is the how, the next level above the op and wellness is the training calls, like the call that we're on right now. This is what trains leaders, because everything rises and falls on leadership, as John Maxwell says. And as you take the leaders up, that elevates the whole entire group and brings the organization up. And so I love the trainings we've been getting the last 4 or 5, 6 months that we've got from the leaders. The 4 stars, the 5 stars, the 6 stars have been incredible. We'll continue to add to those, but the training call is really where you're focusing on taking someone from just kind of being an observer to really being a participant, helping them step up their leadership game. And then from there, we're going to go to the in-person stuff, the local events, the regional events. Those are going to give people a bigger vision. They're going to get around like-minded people, and they're going to start to see the culture that we're creating. And then ultimately what you want to do is you want to get into the major events, because those major events are where most of the people who build very big businesses get to a point where they can see the big picture. They can really kind of see where it's at. And I remember the first one I went to, I kind of kicked and screamed, but I was 75% in. I remember going to an event and people were going across stage and everyone was standing up and sitting down, and I had one guy with me, and I was kind of mad at the world. Some guy kind of was one of the speakers kind of ticked me off because he told me that I needed to step up. And anyway, long story short, all of a sudden some guy stands up and he grabs my hand and holds it. And I'm like, man, I almost hit him. You don't do that. And then I caught myself and I looked around and I thought, I'm sitting here, my guy's sitting here, and I'm looking at all these excited people. I go, man, I'd love to have these people in my group. And so the next time that everybody stood up and cheered, I jumped up and cheered, and my buddy jumped up and cheered. And I sat down and he sat down, and then I jumped up, he jumped up, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting this. The excitement is contagious. And if I'm going to want to create this type of environment, I want these type of people in my group, I've got to jump in full force. And I did that in a major event. And so these are what we promote. We're going to want to go through each of those as you get that new person involved and encourage them to go to the next one. And I know some of them are stretched. The local events, the regional events, certainly the majors, there's a commitment that goes along with that. But I'll tell you, the greatest investment, people ask me all the time, what should I invest in this? I invested, that. The greatest investment you'll ever invest in is in yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Because nobody can ever take that away from you. Your training, your education. And I promise you this, that we're not teaching skills that are just great for this part of life. These are skills that help all areas of your life.
That's right.
And whether you believe it or not, everything in life is a sales job, whether it's you're talking your spouse into marrying you, whether it's raising your kids, everything is. And so these are the skills that we teach at this, because those are universal. And so learn to promote and plug people in this system and promote from each event to event to event. The next one I'm going to talk about is the people. So the people that we're going to promote? Well, we're going to promote the people who first of all, are your sponsor, the one who got you involved. Now, I want to be careful on this one, because there's some of you in here that are like me, that my sponsor got in, was in for 2 days, and he quit. And maybe you have someone in your support team has sponsored you who who's not real active. And if that's the case, I would find somebody above that. I went to my first event with a name looking for hey, is this you? And finally somebody pointed to him. I met that person and they quit. And they gave me another name and I found that person. And it took me, it is
sad and true.
It is a sad story. Are you my upline? Are you my upline? Will you please be my upline? Somebody. But we found somebody. And once we found somebody who was there, we learned to promote them.
Yeah.
Because now it was not just me, it was we. And as good as you may be, I promise you that when you partner with other people, they're going to have skills and gifts and talents that you don't have. And you're going to have some people who may not relate to you, but they're going to relate to them. And so learn to promote those people and lock arms with them and promote them. The other type is the people that are part of your support team that, these are the ones that give you credibility. And I'm going to tell you, for anything you do, if you want to activate people, you're going to have to learn to really promote them correctly. I'll give you an example. I've been doing a lot of private Zooms. So when we get somebody brand new started, I tell them to get, 10, invite 10 to 15, 20 people. We'll jump on a Zoom and I'll do a, 20-minute presentation. Mm-hmm. And I had two of them last week or 2 weeks ago. The first one, somebody jumped on. They hey, welcome everybody. Hey, I'm excited that you guys are here. This is Lance and Tracey, and they're going to show you this program. Take it away, Lance. And I went in there. I went and did the very best I could, but I had to struggle for credibility because that was. In the second call, that was like a couple days later, I got on the call and the person knew what to do, and they jumped in and said, "Hey, we're real excited about you being on here. I'm thankful that you jumped up. We're honored to have Lance and Tracey here. We've known these guys for a while. They've been mentors of ours. They've been in the industry for 3 decades. They were kind of helping put this whole thing together with 3, and we're so excited. And so they did it. And the last thing I need is I don't need to have a lot of build up after 30 years. The last thing, that's what I'm asking. I'm not what I'm asking for. But what it does is it allowed me a position of credibility where as I wrapped it up, I could turn around and I could talk to the people that were there and I could edify and build up the person that was actually invited him. Because the truth is, those were the people that knew him, and they know that person. I mean, shoot, when I got involved in the industry, I was living at home with mom and dad, and they were still telling me to clean my room. I mean, so I had zero credibility. And so the idea is, if you can give them credibility, I'll give you another example. Let's say you have somebody that is interested. Say, can you send me more information? Okay, there's one person that says, okay, I'll send you a link, watch it, and I'll call you when you're done.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm telling you that people aren't going to do that. I mean, imagine a billboard for a movie. Can you imagine a billboard saying movie 8 o'clock, Regal Cinema? Okay, you're going to go by that and go, what the heck is that? Why would I even watch that? That's not how it works. There's a billboard. It's got Tom Cruise, or it's got some, one type of a famous actor, lots of action and things blowing up I mean, look at the trailers. They throw a billboard because people will want to see something. So you could go ahead and say, hey, I got this link to somebody showing the plan. I'm going to send this to you. You're not going to get the results, but you can say, hey, I'm going to send you a link to this gal, Amy Dunlap. She was a teacher, but she realized that she wanted more of her life, and her story resonated with me for this reason. And man, when I saw that, it really hit me. And I believe that it's going to hit you the same way that it hit me. You need to listen to her. It's about 25, 30 minutes long, but she tells her story and tells why 3. When you're done, I'll give you a call back and let's follow up. Or this Holly DeMott, she was the corporate America like I was, and she found a pathway to get out of that. And I knew that, in talking to you the other day, that would be something that you'd be interested in. You got to watch it. And here's the reason why. A Kim Wee or a Samson or any of the leaders that we've got at Corbin, whoever it is that you're working with, but build that up. If you can build them up, you're going to get a lot more response than if you just say, hey, I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
100%. And you want,
but you got to watch a lot of those videos that are in our library so you know which ones, right?
Yeah.
And you should be listening every single day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last one, and I'm going to turn it over to Tracey, is you got to promote the people in the 3 family. We came together and built this project as an idea that we were going to bring. We're not real big about the whole who's upline, who's downline. We're partners in this together. All of us are coming in here with this movement that we really want to lift the whole ship up. And whether you're in my team or whether you're not in my team, if you're a part of the 3 family, I'm going to promote you to anyone I talk to, and I'm going to build you up, because I know that when you win, you're going to have a story that's going to resonate with the people that we've got, and maybe vice versa. And so together, we're just, what is it? Together, everyone achieves more. That's team. I know the three families going to be able to build, and we're building a culture unlike anything I've ever seen because we're not competing with each other. We're actually locking arms with each other. And so without that, let me hit the platform.
One slide short.
One side short. I think I might be two slides.
Oh.
The corporate team, I'll just say the best we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've worked with $3 billion companies, and to have Daniel at the head, Dr. Dan and Troy, we couldn't be more proud. And so get people in the corporate calls and talk about the corporation, because that's what gives them the credibility.
Stability. Yeah.
And the last one is the events. We got Hong Kong, we got Salt Lake City, and I'm going to say this is a leadership event. Those are the two events this year. And do you have tickets? And just a quick story on this one. We sponsored a couple people years ago. One guy named Dave, a gal named Sally. Dave was an accountant, would have an event, would promote the next event. I say, you're going? He said, well, I got to check my schedule. I'm not sure I'll make that decision down the road. And he wouldn't decide until a couple days before the event. And then he'd call his people, and not many of them would go, and he'd show up with the same small group each time. Where Sally, the second the tickets were available, she'd buy the ticket because mentally she knew.
She didn't buy just one ticket.
Yeah, she didn't buy, she bought the ticket for herself, and she promoted all of her people had tickets. And then for the next 4 to 6 months, she promoted everyone in her team because she knew she was going. And by the time the next event showed up, she showed up with an audience. Yep. And you take that 3 or 4 years down the road, and Dave had a very small business, and Sally absolutely knocked it out of the park. And so I always have a ticket to an event. The second they're on sale, I get them, I promote them. And I carry them with me because psychologically, I know I'm going to be in Salt Lake. I know I'm going to be in Hong Kong, and I'm going to talk about it every single day. And so how do we promote? Trace, take it away.
Oh, okay. All right. So I love promotion. Anything that I love is just so natural for me to talk about because I just love it. It's just in my blood. So communication's just so key. You have to talk person to person, and I get them into the in-person events. It's so important. We just had Dallas, and it was funny because, calling and talking to the people that were going to be able to attend Dallas and maybe 2 weeks before is like, oh my gosh, I'm promoting to them, like, go on social media, get your Rolodex out. No one has Rolodex anymore. Yeah. Get your cell phone out, get your contacts, and see whoever could even possibly drive to Dallas to get them to Dallas, because it's going to be magic, right? You're elbow to elbow. And that's where those lasting friendships are made. And so just promote until the very end, but as soon as you can, you start, right? It's super important. Use your phone, get on there and talk to people a lot. We are a relational business, and you've got to build that relationship. And you can do a lot of that through the phone and getting to know people besides in person. Text message is super, super important. That's when you need to get that message really clear and fast to somebody. I love text messages, especially like a call like this. I like the 15-minute before, because people's lives get really busy. But if you could text people like 15 minutes before an op call, or, a Wellness Wednesday or an empowerment, it just goes, oh yeah. And they click on, instead of, oh, I forgot I have to listen to the recording. And then life goes on again, right? And so you have to produce that habit. So I encourage you to have a text list. Voice message is awesome. And Lance is so good at it. And I'm trying to learn to be a little bit better, because people can hear your excitement, right? When you're on a voice message and going, hey, Bill, you're not going to believe it. We have the opportunity to listen to Kim on Saturday, and she's going to talk a lot about a training and how to, really get your business going. And I just cannot wait. You've got to promote it. You can do so much of that energy and the excitement through a voice message. So it's great.
Yeah, and I always say this, for me, I'm not really good at this, a lot of small talk stuff. Tracy's a great promoter, but she's the one that could jump on a call, talk to people, play with the kids. I was the one that pushed the kid away. And I like kind of getting to the point, but I will tell you, Tracy absolutely kills this side of it. And the better you are, and it's not trying to get them to do what you want them to do. All of them have dreams and they have goals of what they want to accomplish. And your goal is to explain to them why getting on this next call is going to help them get to closer to those things. Yeah. Because really that's the whole goal, is we're doing this for them because we know these are the right behaviors, and we want to help them reach their dreams and goals. And so we're going to talk to them kind of in that format. That's the reason why we're doing it. But Tracy's literally one of the best I've ever seen.
I love those things like coffee Zooms. They are so fun because you can just say, hey, grab a cup of coffee. Let's just talk for like 10 or 20 minutes, and you can get to know them, but you can get to know their why and how you can help them with that. And you can always remind them about their why also, right? So WhatsApp's excellent, to promote like the calls again. I mean, there's the link, there's the time, and the information's to the group, and it's so effective. Great. Text groups are wonderful. And I love text groups. The reason being is I put them together, maybe like on a personal message on social media. That's really most of my text groups. I like that because I can go ahead and talk about the leaders in front of the group. And it really is a good way to edification. A recent one I could have put it down is like, hey, Tony and Lisa were in Dallas, and they were able to have 3 people, and they moved 3 pro packs, and yay team. Oh my gosh. And oh, Tony and Lisa are awesome. And, it goes in there, and text groups are so wonderful. Even if it's a private message, or even if you have a text group or a group page on a social media channel. I love social media. I do. And I'm not going to lie. I think it's super effective. It's a great way to promote your business. I think, I love or products. I can move so many products through social media and make it fun. Today I had somebody, a friend of mine, Darlene, who had a friend, and her friend was with her, and she said, oh my gosh, she said, my dermatologist said that I needed to find a good collagen. It's that time. And Darlene goes, oh, I know a collagen that works. My friend Tracey, and I know her. I've seen her. So I know it's her. It's no filter or a model or anything like that. I know that it works. And so let me get you her information. The gal did, and 1750, bing, right?
That was yesterday.
Yeah. But what's so cool about that, I like that. That bing 1750 is awesome. But what I love about that is I went in and I scheduled, okay, it's going to take her probably 3 days to receive the product. And I told her you have to take it 10 consecutive days. So on February, I think it was 8th, I didn't write it down. February 8th, I have to go ahead and message her and then ask her how it went. And then I know it's going to go good. And then I can get her into a business opportunity, right? I can just swing it in there and say, hey, I can show you how to get it free and make some more money. How does that sound? Or I can give you a discount for your next purchase, right? With a token. Super, super easy. And so I love those kind of things with social media promotion. I do have to say promote deep. Lance gave you an example of how our fastest momentum was in reverse. And I tell you that because I was part of that fastest in reverse. I was only promoting to my personal. So I would tell her, assuming that she would go ahead and tell all those people in depth. And I think there was 12 people. So when he lost his job and he called those 12 people and said, I quit, you should quit too. And they quit. I didn't have the relationship down there, and I wasn't promoting down there, and I didn't know their stories down there, and I didn't know what products they were using, and I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And so you have to promote deep. If you want to have a long lasting business, a legacy business, I mean, we're not here to waste our time, right? You got to promote deep, including events, products, business, people. I mean, it's funny because we call it an LOS, a line of sponsorship. It's super, super important because some people think that, a company in the past may have thought that they own that line of sponsorship. They didn't. If you're a good networker, you're going to have attended their weddings, the kids' birthday parties, the funerals, the whole shebang, their family, baby. And so you have to promote deep.
Yeah, and you're also going to find that you may sponsor somebody who's not really excited, and the biggest part of excitement in their group is down 6 or 7 or 8 in deep. Right. And I would tell you, a lot of times when it comes time for an event promotion, I'll start to call the person at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And once I got them going, then I start calling up, and it's a lot easier to call up and say, hey, Bob, are you going to be be in Salt Lake with us? I don't know if you know it or not, but you got 5 people on your team coming. And that's a whole lot more leverage than just calling Bob and saying, hey, I hope you go, and then not having a relationship. So I've always built depth, and I've always promoted in depth. That's right. And that's the way you secure your business. Perfect. So perfect. And we're running out of time. I'm going to go through this last one real quick. We promote by personality. This could be a whole talk in itself. I don't have time to do it today, but bottom line, there's a bunch of different books that talk about the different types of personalities that are out there. They're really kind of just, if you boil it down, there's 4 different traits. There's people who are very high, type A personalities that are driven. You kind of know the ones that are, they're the first ones there. They get, they're the ones that are on lead, and then there's the ones that want to think about things. There's the ones that are the socializers. There's the ones that are there kind of support people. And I've always used an example. If there's a burning building, the type A personality comes up and says, hey, okay, you call the fire department, you go do this, you do that, you go turn on the hoses, water the next house next door. They're the ones that take charge. The type C is the thinker, and they're thinking, okay, well, by the looks of those flames, this thing's got about 15 minutes to go down. The life expectancy of anyone in there's got about 5 minutes. They're the
Oh
ones
my goodness.
doing the math in their head. The supporters was the one that kind of looks around and goes, hey, is anybody going to do anything? And then the socializer is the one that wants to go get marshmallows and
At the party.
and so
Yeah.
that's an oversimplification of it.
Yeah.
But I do want you as a leadership to start to learn personalities, because personalities will determine how you promote to somebody. If I've got an event coming up like Salt Lake, I'm going to talk to the person who's and I'm going to say, hey, look, all the leaders are going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone who's built a big organization when they're three, they're going to be there. They're going to be telling this, the secrets how to do that. And you're not going to want to miss it. The person who's the thinker, I'm going to talk to them about, hey, we're going to have a lot of different panels. A lot of people that are successful, having success now. We're going to go from A to Z. And when you come out of there, you're going to know exactly what to do when you get home.
That's right.
When the person who's the supporter, I'm just going to say, hey, look, we're the group of us going. We'd love to have you come along. We're driving, and so I got a seat in the back. Why don't you come along?
Okay.
And the socializer, I talk about, man, this is going to be fun. We're going to have a pre-party. I can't wait to meet these guys. It's incredibly fun. And that's kind of learn to promote it towards what it is they want to accomplish and what it is that kind of fires them up. Because personalities are really what kick it in. And the last one I want to say is you're going to need to lead by example. Leading by example is the one that really I'll ask you guys a question as a leader, and this is the question that my mentor asked me a bunch of years ago when we really kind of were doing a shift around. He said, Lance, what would it be like if you had 100 people in your group just like you? Would that be a good thing, or would that be bad? And looking back at my history, the last the 8 months before that, I said, well, it probably wouldn't be a good thing. And he said, Lance, you got to be the one that really steps up. You got to be the one that's all in. You got to be the first one to buy the tickets for the events. You got to be the first one to show up. You got to be sit in the front row. You got to be the last one to leave. He said, Lance, the speed of the leader determines the speed of the group, and it's always been that way. And I promise you this, sometimes you get frustrated, but you're always frustrated. I've met you look at my mentor was a guy named Dexter Yeager, or one of them. I look at Kim Wee. I look at Kim Wee, and Kim is an incredible leader. She has never ever duplicated herself. Kim Wee has not produced a Kim Wee. She's incredibly developed great leaders. Dexter Yeager never produced another Dexter Yeager. He was
kind
the
of
big
prodigies.
They're prodigies out there.
Yeah.
And if you're a good leader, you're going to have a hard time finding somebody who's better than you in there. But you want it to be a hard time. And so to do that, you've got to set the example. Be the excitement, be the one that goes out there and does this, be the one to jump on the call, be the one, your excitement, your energy, your vibe will attract your tribe. And what we're doing is we're building a cool thing together over here. Again, we're honored to be in business with all of you. We can't wait to see you guys' success and to celebrate them. We can't wait to see you guys at the events that happen around the country. Whether it be in Hong Kong, whether it be a leadership event, or whether it be in Salt Lake City. But we believe in this team. We believe in all of you. And we know that the story of 3 is just the beginning. And anything you want
So
to put there?
excited. We have never been in a place like this, with timing, with people, with platform, with purpose. I mean, I can't even tell you how great this is. So we love you guys.
Yeah, and I told somebody the other day, I feel like all the leaders here at 3, that we've all practiced our whole life to hit home runs, and it's the World Series, and we're on the winning team, and we're going to hit them. And we want you to come join us. So with that, bless all of you. Have a great rest of your week, and thanks for joining us today. Take care, everybody.